Hello and welcome to the grand finale, the AWS Gameday F1 League EMEA final, live from 7 countries all across the region. I'm Jenny Gao and I'm delighted to be here today as we go live across Europe and the Middle East. And boy, do we have some amazing action ahead of us. 340 teams from all across Europe and the Middle East fought it out to be here in a head-to-head battle. But now we have just 7 teams left in the final. The best of the best, the creme de la creme. All of our teams will compete to be in pole position, but only one of them will win the grand prize. An exclusive once-in-a-lifetime experience. So, what can you expect for the next 90 minutes? Well, we will be speeding around the globe to meet the teams and keep track of the race, from Berlin to Tel Aviv, from Katowice to London, and then Paris to Madrid. The whole time broadcasting live with expert commentary from AWS and F1 leadership and tech teams, who will talk about how technology is changing F1 fan experiences and engagement. Now, if you want to see yourself on the live broadcast, and if you have any friends, family or colleagues who are F1 crazy, now is the time to upload a picture of yourselves using the hashtag AWSF1Final. But now, grab a seat and get ready for one heck of a ride, all the way to the finishing line as we rev up and declare the winning team. The AWS Gameday League is a unique format that brings developers and technology professionals together to solve real-world problems with AWS solutions in a gamified, risk-free environment. The Gameday F1 League takes this experience to the next level by partnering with Formula One. Technical teams from 3 or 4 developers across the world using AWS technology compete against each other to solve real-world challenges of F1 cars, drivers, engineers and crews, and bring the wheel-to-wheel adrenaline of the sport and the split-second decision-making process of teams and drivers that much closer to you at home. The final 7 teams competing in the AWS Gameday F1 League final will have to complete 5 different quests based on real-life Formula One data from the 2022 Barcelona Grand Prix. The final result of these quests will be a live pit lane dashboard, similar to F1 Insights by AWS. Now, as we speak, the crews are hard at work, looking to gain every possible advantage they can. Throughout our live broadcast, you can see each team's score, but keep in mind, teams might be working on different quests, and every quest gets scored differently. So things can change quickly and at any given moment. As you can see, this is the live leaderboard as things stand right now, but as we said, everything can swing as we go through. And by the end of the race, each team will have completed the same number of quests. And that means you'll have to stick around till the end of the show to know which of our teams will be crowned the champions. So without further ado, let's show you what everyone is battling for. An exclusive trip to the 2022 Formula One Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
It's lights out and away we go.
So you've seen the prize, but who will be battling for it? Let's say a quick hello to each of our teams. Now, during the broadcast, we will be meeting them as they race against the clock. So here we go. All of our teams are here, ready, standing by. Let's say bonjour les Devoops from France. Let's also say hello to Kazoo from England. Hello BTC Lange Test from Germany. They're all very excited. Lambda people from Poland, hello. Shalom, Team Leclerc from Israel. And we have another team from Germany, Choose Tech Racer.
Germany.
I mean, they've just waved at every single point, so they're very excited. Last but not least, let's say hola to mi prima Dia del Carballo from Spain. Thanks for giving me an easy job with a name, guys. I'm loving it. Right, we don't want to distract them too much. They've got a lot to do. They have just under 90 minutes on the clock, and every second counts. But we'll check in with them throughout the live show. So let's take you a little closer to the action. And our first team. They come from Katowice in Poland. Let's try and pry them away from their screens and get to know them a little bit more.
Hi, I'm Mateusz. I'm a cloud architect at North Mill Bank, and all I wanted to do is play Gameday.
Hi, my name is Bogusław Buszydlik. I work as a principal engineer at North Mill Bank in Katowice, Poland.
Hi, I'm Michał Górski. I'm chief architect at North Mill Bank, and I live in Gliwice at Poland.
My name is Kuba Barczet, and I am tech lead in a lot of the team in North Bank, and I hope everyone will have a great time playing Gameday.
So let's go live to Katowice, where Wojciech Grałski is there with the team. Wojciech, hey!
Hello, Jenny.
Hello, how are you getting on? Are there nerves in the building?
Oh, definitely. I see a lot of nerves. I see guys working hard on the assignments, and they are already going up to the scoreboard, up to the top.
Yes, I know you guys are excited to see your name at the top of that scoreboard. So tell us, do you have a strategy going into today's play?
Definitely. So they have a strategy. I observed them their preparations for the game day, and they had a lot of discussions, and they were very eager to listen to the debrief and noted everything that was done on the debrief as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it's quite stressful down there. Do you think they're feeling the pressure now the clock's started and you're working?
Oh yeah, so pressure is definitely in the air, and when it comes to the final prize, it is actually a motivator, but also something that may be overwhelming. So they are trying to fight the pressure, and they are going really well at the moment.
Did you want to be early leaders, or would you have rather crept up from the bottom of the table?
Oh, I wouldn't underestimate them. So they are very seasoned guys. They are experienced game day players. They are actually bronze medalists of the AWS Game Day World Championship. So they are actually attacking from the behind. So beware of that.
Oh, all the other teams, beware, they're coming for you. OK, just tell us a little bit about your team, a little bit more.
So 4 guys working together for many years at one company, North Mill Bank, that is a Swedish company that has headquarters in Katowice, Poland. Mateusz, Michał, Jakub, and Bogusław. And yeah, at the moment they are working in parallel to actually solve all the quests.
Now this was going to be another question, like talking about how you're dealing with answering these quests and with making it all work. So you're doing things at the same time as a team?
So the main challenge here is to actually determine the dependencies and address them in the correct order. But additionally, guys are working as parallel as they should to maximize the effort and efficiency.
I love it. Right, we will catch back up with you later on. I wish you the best of luck. Lots of pressure on your shoulders leading, but we'll check in, as we said, a little bit later on. Good luck to you. Bye for now.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Right, let's meet our second team. They come from the beautiful German city of Oldenburg. And if you were wondering how they came up with BTC Lange test, the team credits Christian Schür, their team captain, who often uses that name for his test instances. Let's get to know them a little bit more.
Hello, we are team BTC Lange test.
We are starting for Germany.
And we are working at BTC AG.
Hi, my name is Petra Riede. I'm working at BTC AG as a cloud solution architect, and our office is located in Oldenburg in Germany.
Hello, my name is Christian Schür. I'm cloud solution architect at the BTC AG.
My name is Michael Frahm. I'm working as a cloud solution architect at the BTC AG.
Well, that really wants me to meet them in person, so let's jump to Oldenburg, where Rainer Moller and the Lange test team are in full swing. Rainer, how are things going for you?
Great stuff here, to be honest. It feels like in the last minutes there has been some breakthrough here, and they're finally on a really good mission to go to the top of the list, I think.
Wow, what breakthrough have you made? Share all the gossip with us.
Well, I wouldn't share the whole detail, but the beauty is always in read the instructions carefully and look for each single word, and suddenly it works.
Ah, okay. So how are you tackling, what strategies have you put in place to make sure you've got all your quests done by the end of the 90 minutes?
Of course, divide and conquer. And the team spent quite some reasonable time in the beginning to find out how should we start, what's the best way of allocating resources and knowledge across the team. And I think they did quite well. Struggled a bit with the dependencies between the quests in the first place.
And we know that there are two German teams. Is this like inter-country rivalry, or are you just rivaling all 7 teams?
I guess we are rivaling every 7 teams, but of course it's like, okay, who's the winner in Germany? So we will be closely monitoring the progress across the 2 teams.
I love that. By the way, what's your unicorn called? Does it have a name?
I don't know, does it have a name, the unicorn?
Not really.
Not really. It's called Unicorn.
That is a non-original name. Right, by the end of this 90 minutes, not only do you have your quest to solve, but I want a good name for the unicorn.
I bet.
OK, we're on that. If you want to get involved, you can do. Use the hashtag. Suggest some unicorn names. That's absolutely fine. Right, not holding you guys up any longer. Let's move it on. Every second counts. And we all know what's at stake here, right? Good luck. Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you.
Right, one could safely say that the heart and soul of F1 racing is about capturing the unparalleled adrenaline that takes place on track and in the cockpit. But just as racing itself is about pushing the boundaries of what's possible, so is engaging F1 fans in the stands and at home, enhancing their experience, bringing you closer to the action. So you can almost hear the driver's heartbeat and feel their hearts as the lights go out and they prepare to race. The AWS F1 Leadership Panel is the executive cockpit where such thoughts take place, where senior stakeholders from both companies sit down in an open, frank and fascinating discussion on how AWS solutions can be leveraged to take the F1 experience to the next level. So keep your seatbelts on and let's check in with the team.
Hello and welcome. I'm very excited to be here with all these amazing people. Welcome Rachel Lockwood, AWS EMEA Marketing Director, Rob Smedley, AWS F1 Technology Ambassador, Nick Morgan, AWS Senior Solutions Architect, and James Bradshaw, Head of F1 Digital Technology. Rachel, I know you're a big supporter of this AWS and F1 collaboration. So could you tell us a little bit more about this partnership and why it's important to AWS?
It's very important to AWS. We started our relationship in 2018 with F1 when they selected AWS to be the cloud provider and machine learning provider of choice. Now, it's a great customer use case. For one, there's lots of data that's generated from the cars. That combined with the historical race data that helps F1 really give a great fan experience. And as you know, at AWS, we're customer obsessed, so it truly matches. The partnership is also great, with F1 being the world's best race series provider and AWS being the leading cloud provider.
Cool. So Rob, big question. How do you think that the partnership between AWS and F1 influences the way F1 collects, analyzes, and leverages data and content to make decisions?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. It goes back really to the start of the partnership. You know, even before that, when Liberty Media acquired Formula One, they understood implicitly that data was very important. Immediately from that point, from 2018, we started to work with AWS, and it was very clear that there was a lot of data, but it was perhaps, you know, very disparate in its makeup. And therefore, there's a technology work stream there, which is super important to get all of that disparate data. You know, what Rachel talks about here, taking the data off the cars, the timing data, the tyre data, the weather data. We're the most data-driven sport in the world. But how do you get that into a place digitally where you can access it and where you can bring about high-value analytics, which then are used to engage the fans? And that's exactly the journey that we've been on over the last 5 years.
Cool. So going to 2022, there have been quite a few changes. So what was F1 main motivation for those changes?
Fan engagement. Absolutely fan engagement. You know, we are all about building a better, more engaging Formula One. Again, going back to what Rachel said, you know, it's that customer obsession. It's what does the customer want? AWS within their DNA, all about the customer. Formula One within our DNA, again, all about the customer. So what does the customer want? What does the fan want? And, you know, we, through various means, went out and asked the fans directly what they wanted, and what came back was a really clear answer that they wanted to see closer racing. So it's then the question of how do you apply technology to bring about that closer racing.
That's really interesting, actually. Could you give us even more details then? I'm very curious to know how you use AWS services to accomplish all that.
Well, this is a really cool story, in fact. Yeah. Again, you know, we identified from the fans, they were really clear in their response to us what they wanted. We want more wheel-to-wheel action, closer racing. Not so much overtaking and, you know, not so much the thrills and spills, but definitely they wanted to see these iconic images of cars racing at 200 miles an hour, literally inches from each other. So what we did was we considered why that wasn't happening. You know, what were the barriers to that happening already in the current Formula One? And that come back down to the design of the car. We wanted to design a car that had all of the DNA of a Formula One car, but disrupted the car behind less, which meant that you could then get this much closer proximity racing. And this is where we called upon AWS and their expertise, because what we were trying to do is we were trying to do this on-prem. So we were trying to do all this CFD analysis of two cars, hugely complex models, all within this simulation environment, and it was taking us about something like 2 days to do one iteration. By working with AWS, by deploying their cloud services, and by putting all of the algorithms, all of the calculations engines, and running that up in the cloud, we were able to spin up, you know, from 550 cores to, on average, 2,000 cores. At peak, we were spinning up something like 7,000 cores, you know, 1 billion different cells, 4 million iterations per day we were doing, and we got that down to something like 7 hours. I mean, for me, that for me is the microcosm of what AWS and Formula One have been able to do together. You know, it's such a showcase of the technology, of how we've worked together to deploy technology to create a better Formula One to engage fans.
Oh, I love that. That really is an amazing story. So, Rachel, what impact does it have on AWS as a brand, considering we have been so heavily involved with one of the largest technological changes that F1 has ever seen?
What the relationship with F1 does, and what the story Rob just told, it allows us to tell that very deep technical story and that great technical use case, but in a human interest way. You know, using that fan engagement that F1 have to really get to the fan and explain a use case of cloud technology in a way they understand, because they watch the race and they can see these things in action without going to all the depths of how that technology actually works. So it expands our reach into our audience and the knowledge that we can give, and therefore our brand connection to a much wider audience than we would have.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually personally very excited to see, F1 proving how data can truly change a user experience, especially for something as physical as Formula One, right? So James, tell me, what does data mean to F1, and has it changed fan experience?
Absolutely. So most people don't know, Formula One are responsible for acquisition of all telemetry from the cars, and obviously that's provided to the teams, but then we use that data to tell the story of the sport. For instance, in Zandvoort this year, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc qualified 21 milliseconds apart. Now, if you're watching football, you don't need an on-screen graphic to tell you how close a shot on goal was. But in F1, the data is absolutely critical. F1 and AWS use that same data to build machine learning models that power F1 Insights, educating our fans and making the sport more accessible to a wider range of fans.
Well, Nick, tell me then, how does this use of massive data and auto-generated graphics affect the viewer's experience?
Well, I think most of the fans will be familiar with F1 Insights powered by AWS. Essentially, these are the overlaid graphics that we see on screen. So we take the data off the car, so each racing car has about 300 sensors or so. It collects about 1.1 million pieces of information per second. That's transmitted back to the pit, sent over to AWS, pushed into the AI and ML models that we've developed with F1, and that produces the data that is sent over to the graphics.
So James, tell me, how important is it to bring the fan into the driver's cockpit, close to those split-second decisions on the track?
It's critical. F1's onboard cameras, whether that's the forward or rear-facing roll hoop, helmet cam, face cam, or even the recently tested gyro cam, these are critical ways to bring fans closer to the action so that they can understand the speed, the forces on the driver, the demands on the driver beyond just driving at 260 kilometers per hour.
So Rob, it seems like you have captured already many parameters of performance. So how much more is there to capture, and where do you go from here?
James was talking about the cameras on the car, the experimentation that Formula One is doing. I'm sure that a lot of Formula One fans have seen this cockpit camera, which gives them the driver's eye view. The next phase on that is, how do you merge, how do you fuse the data and the camera together to give a much more immersed experience for the fan? That is definitely the next stage. That's where we concentrate. That's what we're looking towards and ideating around as a partnership. And I think that's really exciting. For a fan to be, the more you can engage the fan, the more you can immerse them within the sport, the more hooked they are. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here.
That sounds so cool. James, how have you actually measured the fans' increased engagement following the partnership?
Yeah, well, Rob mentioned earlier that we conduct surveys, we have our own mechanisms for getting data to understand how fans are engaging and what they want. But of course, as the content producer, Formula One is disintermediated by our broadcasters from our fans. So we are dependent on the broadcasters to some extent. However, in digital, where we have our own OTT product of F1 TV, as well as our other digital products, that gives us much greater insight, where we can see literally down to the individual who's watching what and how they engage. On F1 TV, there are 22 different streams that fans can choose between, and so we can understand down to the second how much time do people spend on an individual onboard versus watching the international feed versus watching the data channel. And all of that data is used to build this picture of what our fans desire and need, and not just in digital, but also whether it's TV graphics or whether it's digital products themselves.
That's pretty amazing. Rachel, have you seen this increased engagement reflected within the AWS customer base?
Absolutely. What I love about this project is, the game day and the race series we did with Deep Racer and F1 on the summits. We went back to face-to-face events this year. We did 7 events around Europe, and we really were able to bring that to not only the technical builder, but also other people interested in AWS technology, make it very accessible through the game's console. So whether you've taken part in the game day or been part of the console, or you've been able to read something in these wide-reaching media that we've got to, I think this is where we can really light up the partnership.
Oh, definitely. So, Nick, tell our builders what they should expect from participating in an F1 game day.
Okay, so the heats that we ran across the EMEA summits, we invited around 1,100 participants in 347 teams. They had various challenges to complete, from data ingestion through automated processes and also setting up things like websites, etc., etc. So we have a fictitious company that we use for all of our game days called Unicorn Rentals. As part of the F1 game days, we invented a fictitious F1 racing team called Unicorn Rentals Racing. So after the heats, we generated a new set of content for the finals, and these were to really challenge the teams.
And just to pick up on what Nick's talking about, because I think this is a really important point, is that when we put the game day together and the concept of it, what we wanted to do was we wanted to make it as close to a new Formula One team as possible. So we wanted to say, right, what would be available to a Formula One team and how would they use that data and that information to build their business strategy, essentially. It's a great shop window into how the partnership works and how a data strategy, either in a fledgling business or an established business, drives business outcomes. And I think that's a great, it's a great way for us to showcase the partnership here.
That is really fun. I love the whole idea of game day. So Rachel, this is the ultimate question. So we started the F1 Game Day League in April in the AWS Paris Summit. Has it lived up to its expectations?
Absolutely. And some of the results I said, I mean, I was at many of the summits watching the build, watching this come to life, watching the entries come in, seeing the engagement from our builders and that broader engagement. I've really enjoyed watching it, and I think, super to see this finale come and judge the winners and offer those some fantastic winning prizes.
Well, thank you very much for being here. This was such a great discussion. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Nick and James. Players, keep on going, keep playing. Good luck, and back to the studio. Back to you, Jenny.
Thank you so much. Fascinating learning there. Right, live leaderboard time. Let's find out exactly where our teams are. Ooh, changes at the top. Look at that. Kazoo, our London-based team, have just very narrow margin taken the lead over from Team Leclerc. But remember, these are live leaderboards, and that means it keeps on swapping. You just saw a swap take place there. And until the very end, we will see those leaderboard swaps continue to take place. And at one point, at the end of the show, we will have a winner. Now, don't keep all this to yourself. If you have any friends, family or colleagues who are F1 fans, now is the time to tag them on Twitter. If you want to see yourself on the live broadcast, just take a selfie and upload it with the hashtag AWS F1 Final. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen, and you can see some, oh no, that's me. You can see some of our live tweets as well. Now, the third team comes from the City of Love, Paris. They have a real tongue-in-cheek name, Les DevOps, as highly skilled developers. Let's hope they don't have any oops moments today. The team members work for Equateur, an independent energy supplier. Let's get to know them a bit better. They really seem like a fun bunch.
Hello, my name is Bliss Pelleté. I'm 29 years old. I'm lead DevSecOps at Equateur, and I'm part of team Les DevOps. I live in Paris, and I like to do photography.
Hi, I'm Frédéric Vizouk. I'm 26 years old and I live in Paris, France. I'm a DevOps engineer at Equateur, a French energy supplier, and I'm part of the team Les DevOps, and I like playing Formula One, the game.
Hi, I'm Mark Poppert. I live in Bordeaux. I'm 33 years old. I'm working for Equator as a cloud engineer. I'm part of the team Les DevOps. And Max, you are the best.
Okay, I think we might have a Max Verstappen fan in the house. Let's check in with Arnaud Jean, who is live with Les DevOps in Paris. Have you got some sweet treats for me?
Yeah, I have some chouquettes if you want some.
Oh, they look delicious.
The team is full of...
Yum. Okay, well, we'll raid those later. How are things going? Clearly not so tense if you've managed to find some pastries.
Yeah, in fact, we did, and the team is going pretty well. I mean, they split it on the different tasks and different quests, sometimes doing activities together to ensure they are not missing any key point, and working hard to be currently on the third place or on the podium, but to be the first one.
Yeah, it's fascinating speaking to the different teams of how they're going to strategize and work together to really try and get the best out of these 90 minutes. They're precious minutes.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, Bliss, maybe you would like to tell more about these precious minutes that you are saving to perform your different quests.
Well, with the remaining minutes, I think we'll just try to focus and we'll get things done as fast as possible.
Well, that seems like a good idea.
Yeah, seems a good one. Thank you very much, Bliss.
Okay, guys, good luck. Enjoy the pastries. Don't let them distract you too much. I'm sure they'll be delicious, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Yeah, and in France, as we say, montez le volume et rendez-vous au premier virage. Turn up the volume and see you at the first corner.
Ah, oui, très bien. Merci. Au revoir.
Merci.
Well, we will catch up on them later on. As you can see, the leaderboard keeps on switching around, so we will continue to find out who's rising to the top and who's dropping to the bottom. Now, to the fourth team, coming from the city that never sleeps, Tel Aviv. Ready to meet Team Leclerc? Yalla, as they say here in Israel.
Hi, my name is Adva. I'm from Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm engineering team lead at Milio, and I'm a huge F1 fan.
My name is Or. I live in Tel Aviv, and I'm a principal engineer at Milio.
Hi, my name is Adi Rosen. I'm 27. I'm from Tel Aviv, and I'm a software engineer at Milio.
I'm Daniel, live in Netanya, Israel, works in Zoomin as software engineer.
What a happy bunch. We are live with Boaz Zinnerman, who is with Team Leclerc in Tel Aviv. So Boaz, how is the team doing in their quests?
Shalom, Jenny. So we are doing great, working really, really hard. As you can see, it's really hard to distract them from the game, but doing pretty good.
Now, Team Leclerc gives us a little hint, maybe, as to who people support in your room. I can see one Ferrari top. Is it a mixed supporting group, or is everyone into Charles Leclerc?
So I think everybody are in Charles Leclerc fans, so pretty obvious by the team name and some of the outfits here.
I love that. You're doing pretty well at the moment. Strategy-wise, you seem to be getting on top of things, moving into second place. How are the team feeling?
So, how do you feel? Oh.
I'm super excited. It looks really close, and we're really kind of battling last stuff of the quests. So it feels great being part of it.
Yeah, so as you can see, they are working really, really hard trying to make it to the first place.
Yeah, they've certainly got their work cut out, but I feel like there's a is there an air of confidence in the room?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are getting to the final stages of the game. Looking forward.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much. Keep on doing what you're doing. We will be back in a short while, just before we declare the winner. Shalom.
See you later.
Well, 2022 was an exceptional year of racing with some truly amazing highlights. And there's no one better than F1 technical expert Rob Smedley to shine a light on some of the events that made 2022 so special. And I'm delighted to say we're going to try and catch up with Rob Smedley now and find out how things are. Our teams are all busy scurrying away, but there he is. Hey, how you doing?
Hi Jenny, how are you doing? Nice to be here.
Well, it's lovely to have you here as well with your collection of trophies, memorabilia, helmets in the background. Looking good.
Yeah, all stuff that my wife won't allow me to have in the house. I have to have it down here in the office.
Sounds awful. Right. As we all know, Max Verstappen has just wrapped up the championship in Japan. Give us a quick breakdown onto how the season played out for us.
Well, I think, it might not have been as nail-biting a championship as last year, but it's been a really, for me, it's been a great one. You've seen a slight change in the order, in terms of how the top teams at least have played out. We've seen Red Bull really starting to stretch its legs. You're now seeing a Red Bull that got on top of winning and knowing how to win last year. And now this year they're really capitalising on that. And Max is doing a super job. I mean, the car's great, so we shouldn't take that away from him. But he is doing a super job. He's much more mature. Still has all of that fire and that anger. I mean, when you saw in Singapore when it didn't go right for him, that's what I personally love about Max. That he's not happy to sit back and say, yeah, it's all right because I'm going to win the championship. He wants to win every single race. So that was really good. You're seeing, I think Ferrari they've done a good job with their car. They've still got that extra half a mile to go to get them into a position where they can win championships. Mercedes will come back strong because Mercedes always come back strong. But what's really interesting is down there in 4th, 5th, 6th position as well. It's really, there's some strong competition. And not only that, but you're already starting to see, how the cost cap can play out and how that can close up the field, how the midfield can come towards the front as well. You've got Alpine now very clearly talking about that they want to catch Mercedes, which if you went back 2 years ago or whatever, the midfield talking about catching the front of the pack would have been just unheard. So I think we're moving into a classic era, or we're probably already in the start of a classic era of Formula One, and it's only getting better.
Yeah, we've certainly had these new regulations come in. As you say, it's shaken things up, but how do you see that impacting next season and seasons beyond?
Well, I think that, the levers that, at Formula One, what we've put into place that can now start to be pulled, such as the cost cap, the technical regulations, the sporting regulations, the governance of the sport, if you like, all of those things are there. It's the first time really, certainly since I was involved in the sport, where there's been a real strategic alignment on all of those different mechanisms and ways of running the sport: the technical side, the sporting side, the commercial side, the governance side. We've got this cost cap which helps to normalise and equalise the budgets now. And I think all of that, what it will do is it will all build towards this Formula One where we do have just closer and closer racing. We saw that with the new 2022 cars, that already this year we're seeing cars that are racing closer together. They're much less disturbed by the car in front. That's been a massive win already for Formula One, and more importantly, Formula One fans, right? Because they're the people who count. And then what you'll start to see is there's a little bit of inertia with how the cost cap will affect the closing up of the grid. But as we go into 2023 and 2024 and beyond, that will only get closer and closer. We are Formula One. So it is about, not straying away from our DNA of the best team that performs the best with the best driver winning the World Championship. We can never move away to an artificially affected result, but having this closer racing and having these championships that go on until the last lap of the last race, it's just fantastic.
Okay, I've got one more question. It's kind of a multifaceted question. Bear with me. Okay, so I want to know, will Mercedes win a race before we get to the end of the season? Will Max get the record for the most wins in a season? And what are you most excited about over the next 4 races?
Right, will Mercedes win a race? I'm not going to say that they can't, because if I do say that, then they will. They'll probably win out in Austin at the next one. It's a tall order. They accept it's a tall order. There's got to be some changes at the front. There's got to, something has to happen between Red Bull and Ferrari. Not all the circuits that are coming up are particularly suited to where they've been really strong as well. You could argue that Austin possibly, but there's still parts of that track characteristic that don't really suit the Mercedes. I would hope so, because I think they're a great bunch. They're a great team, and they've got to deserve to win. But it would be nice to see them get a win on the board. Can Max win all of the next 4 races? That is a tall order. In Max's mind, that will be a very strong yes. He certainly can win them all. Whether he does win them all, I don't know. But certainly the circuits that are coming up, the way he's performing, the way the car is performing, there is a strong possibility that he can win them all. And what am I looking forward to? I'm just looking forward to more of the same in the next in the races that play out. You just want to see good racing. You just want to see a really strong battle throughout the weekend, and you want to see these drivers, putting it all on the line, like we've seen between Max and Charles, or further down when Lewis has got involved, when George has got involved. These guys are really racing very, very hard. They're racing much closer together.
It's been great, hasn't it?
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I just want to see more of the same.
Okay, Rob, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to check in with you a little bit later on as well when we declare our winner.
Thanks, Jenny. See you soon.
Bye for now. Right, let's check out our current scores for our Game Day League final. Here we are, live for you. And, ooh, look at that. France surging into the lead. Les Devoots up there with Kazoo, our UK-based team, in second place, and Team Leclerc, our Israeli team, in third. But look at that, BTC Alange coming up the leaderboard, and everything can change. Remember, plenty of points still up for grabs with our quests. Right, time to meet the team that gave me the most amount of difficulty when it came to the pronunciation. It is Mi Primer Dia de Trabajo from Madrid. We hear they just might have something special up their sleeve. Let's check in and meet the crew.
Hi, my name is Jesus Furio. I'm 32 years old and I'm living in Madrid. My role in the Mi Primer Día de Trabajo team is Site Reliability Engineer.
Hi all, my name is Mario. I am 30 years old. I really enjoy helping products and analytics departments to achieve their goals, designing data pipeline products. So my role in the Game Day will be that, designing data pipelines.
Hi, my name is Javier. I'm 37 years old. I live in Malaga in the south of Spain, and currently I work as data engineer in Skypet. My strongest point is everything related to databases, so this is going to be my role in the competition.
Hi, my name is José Antonio García Cartagena. I'm 24 and I am the team leader at Mi Primer Día de Trabajo. I work for Skypet and I'm really good at data services and workflow services. I really like to play paddle and this is my first AWS Game Day. Let's win this race!
Well, confident stuff, and we go live to Matias Huáscar Núñez in Madrid. Things seem pretty intense in there.
Pretty intensive. Hello from Madrid. Buenas tardes, Jenny.
Buenas tardes. Now tell me your name. What does it mean? Who came up with it? Who do I send a letter of complaint to?
Funny question. It means the meaning in English is my first day of work, and the funny fact is that one of these guys won the last game day in his first day of work in the last time. So it's pretty fantastic. It's amazing, all right? The first day passing this game day.
Wow, that is pretty impressive stuff. So you guys have a lot to live up to. Thumbs up in the background. How are you dealing with the stress in there?
Well, it's getting complicated. We are doing our best and separating all the different quests by expertise and skills. The guys are working very hard, and I'm sure that we will give a surprise at the end. We will take advance in the position for sure, Jenny.
Yeah, that's the important thing to mention, isn't it? The fact that there are quests with different scores attached to them. So you never know quite who's going to take the lead by the end. Not long to go, though, now. How are you going to speed things along for the final minutes of the quests?
Team play. Just we are struggling to resolve all these little minor things that we can find and get stuck. But we are trying our best with the team to resolve all these little problems they can find in the way. But I'm sure that we have time enough to come again to the first positions.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You can go and get back to work, and we'll speak to you in a little while. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Right, our second team from Germany comes from the beautiful city of Duisburg. Hello to the Tech Racer team, an eclectic group of builders who all share a passion for adrenaline, even when not in front of a computer.
Hi, my name is Gemma. I'm 29 years old. I work in marketing at our Tech Racer location in Duisburg, Germany. I'm very excited for the game day. I hope we are doing well and have lots of fun.
I'm Marco and I'm based in Duisburg, Germany. I'm working as a cloud consultant at Tech Racer. I am one of the engineers within our team at the AWS Gameday F1 League.
My name is Benjamin and I'm based in Frankfurt, Germany. I work as a cloud consultant at Tech Racer and I am one of the 2 engineers in our team for the AWS Gameday F1 League.
Well, let's say hello to Victor in Duisburg. How is it going over there?
Cool, great. Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. It seems very relaxed with Tech Racer.
2 persons just like do everything, and I believe they almost ready to be the winner. Yeah, guys, how are you?
I'm very fine.
What's the biggest challenge currently do you see in this quest?
I think we're having 2 issues. One is about the data preparation task, and the other one is about Cloud9. But apart from that, it seems like it's going pretty well.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks like it's going well at the moment. There's not long left to go. Have you got any surprises to play towards the end of this session?
Any surprise? No? Yeah?
Hopefully not.
Okay, guys, we're going to leave you to it for now, but thank you so much and good luck for the rest of your quests. So if you have any friends, family, colleagues, or maybe you just want a little bit of TV time, then tag yourself or your friends on social media. And if you want to see yourself on the live broadcast, upload a selfie now with the hashtag that's on the bottom of the screen. It is AWS F1 Final. And you are seeing a live leaderboard right now. And that is how things stand with our French team, Les Devoops, taking the lead. Now, AWS Game Day started with one simple question. Could gaming principles drive customers to learn more about AWS? According to Danny Narvo, Principal Product Manager for AWS Game Day, the answer is a resounding yes. Over the last 10 years, Game Day has walked the walk, mixing hands-on learning with the magic of gaming to make customers feel more comfortable in their own AWS environments. Danny and the Game Day team have created a unique format which continues to bring builders from across the world together to solve real-world problems in a fun, risk-free environment. We sat down with Danny for a riveting peek into his world and to hear how this format is ushering in a new era of innovation and impacting different aspects of our lives. Buckle up, we're in for a ride.
Okay, and now we have somebody special.
Hey Darko, I'm Danny and I'm the Principal Product Manager for AWS Game Day. Good to be here today.
Tell me a bit about how did the Game Day start?
Game Day started at reInvent 2013. It was the first time a Game Day ever ran, and it ran a bit differently than it does today. Back in 2013, what we did was we gave the teams of 4 an AWS account to work in, and they were pretty much trying to achieve some of the objectives in the architecting on AWS course material. And after a couple of hours, what we did was we took everyone's AWS account and we swapped them and gave them to other teams. So these new teams now had a chance to work and muck with your AWS infrastructure that you built up over the course of a couple of hours. And they could try to basically tear with what you've done. Then after that, the accounts were redistributed back to their original teams, and the original teams had to restore the accounts to where they were in the first half of the event. And what we really wanted to focus on was that in order for teams to succeed, they really needed to find ways to automate and scale. They couldn't rely on manual processes, and that really reflected what, the real world as well.
And very important, what makes a Game Day so special?
Game Day includes hands-on learning, gamification, expert advice from AWS staff, and there's also a bit of entertainment and fun. So with the hands-on learning, you and your team are actually working in a live AWS account with real resources provision. So you don't have to bring your own account. You don't have to worry about accruing cost. You don't have to worry about breaking your own production environment. It's risk-free. You get a chance to explore and experiment for the course of 4 hours or so. And that allows you to try new things, try new services, ask questions, work with your team, work with the AWS support staff who are there to help you. And on top of that, the gamification really makes the learning resonate more. So when you're a team and you're working your account, the back end of the Game Day platform is evaluating you and assessing how you're using AWS. So you earn and lose points based on what you're doing in your account. And we also use this unicorn rentals narrative for fun and entertainment. So as opposed to other learning formats where you kind of go into a room and you sit and there's a presenter up there clicking through a presentation, you're actually joining our fictitious startup, Unicorn Rentals. And you're joining our startup because we have loads of issues with our IT, and we've actually recruited you. So in your first day, you're going to get hands-on with our production system, which usually you don't get to do that on your first day at a typical job. And we do this because it makes the learning it makes it resonate more, and it allows people to have a good time. And typically the issues that Unicorn Rentals is facing are a bit, they're funny and they're satirical, and it adds a lot to this event and makes it unique.
So today we are playing the Formula One Finals Game Day for the first time ever. Danny, what does this entire big old Game Day development process look like? It must be complicated.
Whenever we want to build a new game day, we want to answer certain questions like, what do we want the teams to walk away with from the event learning, right? What do we want them to learn? What takeaways do we want to emphasize? Are there any specific limitations with the service or the solution that you want the teams to learn that we need to maybe find workarounds for or find alternatives for? And the most important phase of any game day development process is by far the testing phase. So you can write the most amazing narrative and have the best team ever working on a game day, but if you don't test it thoroughly prior to your production event, then you're setting yourself up for a bit of risk. So whenever I tell those who are building a new game day, I say, make sure you're building in enough time to test your content both internally and externally, because that will be the best simulation of how your content's going to perform in production. And that gives you the best pulse check on the clarity of your instructions, on your introduction, on how your staff should be supporting the teams. And that's the best way to really get feedback.
What is your most memorable memory from one such game day, such an event?
I've been attending game days for over 4 years now, so it's tough to place one memory at the top. But I think last year at reInvent, having Jeff Barr attend our game day sessions and go on stage and make some announcements to teams with some hints and tricks and some of the history of game day at AWS, I thought that was really special. And a lot of customers loved it too, because Jeff has a large following out there, and he's a really important spokesperson for AWS. So having him in the room was really special. And I have to say that I've been doing game days now for 4 years, and when I started, I was the first person on the team, and now we've grown to a team of 10. So just watching the evolution of the program over the last several years, and just working together with this great team, figuring out how to take game day to the next level. Just witnessing that evolution is something that I might never get a chance to do in my career. So that's been really special for me. Thanks so much, Darko. It was great to be here.
Well, not long now until we declare the AWS F1 Gameday final winners. But before that, let's introduce you to the 7th and final team. Hailing from London, England, they go by the catchy name of Kazoo.
Hi, I'm Ben Emery. I've been living in London for about 10 years and I'm an engineering manager here at Kazoo.
Hello, my name's Connor Adams. I'm 31, I'm a software engineer and I live in London.
Hi, I'm Richard Owen. I'm 31 years old and I work as a platform engineering manager here at Kazoo.
Hi, I'm Adrian Baron. I'm 32, French, and I live in London. I'm a senior software engineer at Tractable. Glad to be here.
I tell you what, we have a very excited team. Let's introduce you to Matthias Guimarães, who is with Team Kazoo in London. We're live. How are things going?
How are things going? Say hello. Hey. So things were going brilliantly, and I was about to brag, yes, we're in the lead, but now we were the 7th to be introduced and we're not in the lead anymore. But hey, things are still going good.
There's still time, don't worry, still all to play for.
Yes,
I feel the energy. It's almost palpable. I can almost touch it. So come on, tell me, what are the guys doing at the moment in the background?
Well, what they're doing right now, I'm not sure. I just know that I feel like a gremlin because they're working so hard. And I just keep, I can tell you their favorite musical, their favorite game, all that. But I think they actually were trying to be in the lead to shut me up so they can go, look, we're actually doing work. But now what's happened is that the way this started was this half of the table was doing all the points, and that half has 0 points. I think that has changed now, right? It has changed. You guys got points now. Okay, no, it still hasn't changed. So maybe that's why you're not in the lead anymore. So, but things are going good anyway.
I can't believe you've managed to split your own rim and divided it into the non-scorers and scorers. That's mean.
No, I know, like, there's actually like a whole hierarchy thing going on here, Jenny. I have no idea. Like, whenever something happens here, they go, Richard, can we have a hint? Are we allowed to do this? Like, they have a whole kind of proper team fantasy going on here right now.
I love that. It feels quite high pressured, but you have two unicorns in the background. Like, we had no names earlier. Can you offer us names for your unicorns?
One of them's called Sparkles. This is called Sparkles.
Sparkles is a good name.
This unicorn's called Sparkles here.
One is Sparkles. Did you hear that? I've heard that. What's the other one?
I called it Sparkles too, but Richard was upset.
Okay, so the other one is called Sparkles too, but Richard was upset, which sounds like a great name to me.
Okay, stay safe. Keep playing. Don't cause too much more trouble. We trust you. I think we trust you. And we will check in with.
Stay safe.
We'll check in with you a little bit later. Bye, Sparkles 1 and 2.
Bye. See you later.
I told you they had some energy, didn't I? When you break it down, the world of racing is made up of endless data points that, when processed and closely analysed, can impact every aspect of the sport, from the cars, drivers and engineers, all the way to how fans can be immersed into the wheel-to-wheel action that takes place on track and in the driver's cockpit. When it comes to data, AWS's innovative technologies are constantly being used to drive change, pushing the boundaries of what is possible, even being used to engineer the cars of the future. Let's shed a spotlight on how AWS is driving F1 forwards.
Hello and welcome to Talking About F1. Today, we're going to be doing a bunch of fun things. My name is Darko, and I'm what they call a developer advocate, but that's not important. I have with me here Adrian DeLuca. Adrian, tell us who you are, what you do.
Sure, great to be here, Darko. So, Director of Solution Architecture in the partner team, but I'm also a big F1 fan.
Aren't we all, right? So F1 cars have become these amazing space-age things right now. So many sensors, so much science. All of this data is being used to improve the car, improve the race, improve the drivers, all of those fun things. But me, as a fan, can I benefit somehow from that data? Can I use that data for my own personal entertainment?
Well, I certainly hope so, right? I mean, the days of when I was watching Formula One in the 80s on television, you know, this linear broadcast would tell you or show you what's going on at the front of the grid. But what is really different about Formula One compared to a lot of other sports is that the action is happening throughout the track. There's more than one battle that is typically happening between, you know, drivers and teams. And, you know, Formula One really wanted to be able to help educate fans and show the audience what may be going on here. And so in 2019, AWS partnered with F1 to develop something pretty unique and something that I think is pretty exciting. You know, we developed this machine learning powered widgets that we call F1 Insights. And, you know, what it does is it helps fans interpret this data that is being generated off the cars and the tracks to help them understand what's going on. And today, you'll probably notice when you're watching the broadcasts is that you'll see these little pop-ups talking about, you know, a pit battle that may be going on, what we call an undercut or an overcut as cars come in and out and implement strategy. They look at, you know, driver or best driver of the day. We look at things like overtake predictions or tire change predictions, cornering analysis, and even throughout the course of the season, we're even predicting how upgrades to the Formula One cars may change their performance profiles on the track. So there's a lot of really interesting insights there. Now, if you actually have a look at those insights, now, not all of them are machine learning. Some of them are just statistics, right? So we use statistical deterministic, but others, you know, use things like game theory and Monte Carlo simulation to be able to help understand the likely strategy that is going to be employed by the various teams. So really exciting stuff that we've done there.
It's really great that me as a fan now, I can enjoy the race fully by following around different race drivers, get the insights and, you know, not just focus on the first couple of few. But I want to get back to the data and the cars and the races. Now tell me, how can this collaboration between F1 and Amazon Web Services improve the cars? Do we improve the cars? Do we help them something with that?
Yeah, well, first of all, Formula One has got a great legacy in improving technology in cars since 1950, since they've been going. And so we've seen certain generations, you know, in 2014, 2015 era, we saw the introduction of hybrid engines. But in 2016, we certainly saw the new age around aerodynamics. And what's really interesting about today's Formula One cars is that they generate a lot of downforce. And downforce is great in corners, right? It gives you extra speed to be able to come out of those apexes really strongly. But, you know, with the speeds that these cars go at today, they also leave this detrimental wake behind them.
Behind the cars, okay.
And what happens then is it makes it really hard for drivers to go and do things like overtaking and get close enough behind those cars to be able to execute some of these moves. So one of the things that we did with Formula One for the 2022 series is that we helped them redesign the aerodynamics of the car. You know, the way we do that, we're using technologies, computational fluid dynamics. This helps us model those. Because in the old days, you know, you literally had to craft the wings, put them through a wind tunnel and see how they perform. You know, very tedious process, but being able to simulate how, you know, a certain part of the car actually, you know, behaves in certain conditions, you know, can be done a whole lot more faster, and we can do a lot more of them. And, you know, we really focused on designing the wings, you know, particularly the back wings that leave that detrimental wake. And what was really interesting was, you know, our ability to use the power of AWS. In fact, Darko, I think our audience is going to be really interested to know that we use over 1,150 AWS compute cores. And we detailed simulations with over 550 million data points, you know, in a very fast succession. We did it 80% more efficient than what it used to be done. But the net result of that is that the new wings actually now have reduced the amount of dirty air, that wake that I was talking about, from 50% to 10%. And what that does now is it promotes a lot more wheel-to-wheel racing, which is really interesting.
So we get more fun racing where a car can be just behind.
Absolutely, right? We love seeing those battles done there, right?
That's a lot of complex data coming in from different sides and needs to be processed and all that stuff, right? Can you talk about the complexity of that?
Absolutely. On any given weekend, there's about 600 gigabytes of just telemetry data, right? Yeah. Which is a huge amount of data to have to be processed. But when you think about, you know, what it means, first of all, it has to be low latency. Of course. Okay. Yeah. We need to be able to, you know, there is some scrubbing that also happens with some of that data. But in today's Formula One environment, you know, teams can also be looking at other teams' data. And what's really interesting when you actually look at how a team really operates today, yes, there are engineers that are looking at the car, but there's also a lot of people that you don't see behind the pit wall, back in the headquarters of a lot of these teams, that are actually analyzing data from other teams. And they're probably looking at, or they are looking at, you know, what sort of strategy is my competitor going to, you know, do? Anticipating that helps them inform their own strategy. You know, if my rival is going to pit earlier, they're going to try and undercut me. How can I develop a strategy to, you know, overcome that or obviously improve that? So it's a really fascinating area, and there's a lot of pressure that goes on with these racing engineers, as you can imagine, on race day.
Adrian, thank you so much. This has been insightful. Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day.
Good stuff. Thank you very much to the guys. Now, we are into the final 15 minutes before we declare who will be our winner. Let's do one final check-in with each of our teams, and let's take a look at the scoreboard. Hang on a minute, because we want to know who's leading and then put some extra pressure on them. There we go. Les Devoops are leading at the moment. Look at that, taking it away from Team Leclerc, and then it's Kazoo with Tech Racer, BTC Olange Test, the Lambda people, and our Spanish team at the bottom. But do not give up yet, because with 15 minutes still to go, there's plenty of time to reverse things around. So, mi prima dia de trabajo. Fingers crossed. As I said, let's check in with the teams. Let's go to our leaders first. Let's go to France with Les Devoops. How are things going? You're leading.
Yeah, indeed, they are quite happy to see it, but quite also they are stressing a lot on the final 20 minutes remaining. And Also, we have one of the team member of the DevOps who is working from Montreal. So he has been connected at 4 in the morning to support and work with the team to ensure they will be the first one and be the first on the boat.
Wow, that is a lot of stress, a lot of pressure going into this, but we love that. Good stuff. Okay, we'll leave you for the minute because we can see things are getting pretty stressful everywhere. Let's go across to Tech Racer, just to the side of you. Tech Racer, my friends in Germany. How are things going?
Oh, how's it going?
Yeah, well, we're making some progress here and still struggling kind of with the glue job and the data there, but I hope we will have a dashboard up and running by a few minutes. And then we will see to bring in security for the media distribution.
I see that the guys already found a lot of dependency between different quests, and I see the very good progress. I still have the hope that we will be the winner today.
Oh, well, fingers crossed for you and all of your supporters. I know a lot of people cheering you on. Let's go to our second place team, Team Leclerc. Things are looking pretty tense.
Very tense. So last 20 minutes and one more quest to go. And this is looks like a super challenging game day, not your typical game day.
There's still laughter going on in these rooms, which I am loving. Tense, but a lot of hilarity. Just tell us, do you think you can close up the gap? Are you still very confident you can be champions?
So let me ask Adva. Adva, do you think you still close the gap?
I think we will.
Yeah, you see? A lot of confidence here.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, Kazoo in London have something to say about that. They also think they can close the gap, don't you guys?
Yes, we can close the gap. I've seen some dodgy Wikipedia lookups here, whatever. Not saying who did it, but yeah, they're getting there. I feel like doing ollie moment, but I think I'm gonna get some laptops thrown at me. So yes, they're getting there though.
Do not get a laptop thrown at you. That will hurt you.
Oh, there are spare ones.
Oh, fine. Spare ones. That's okay. Let's go to Lambda people. They started so strongly. How are you feeling?
They are trying to catch up. It's a challenging game day as well, and everybody are hard working. You should feel the tension in this room because everybody are focused on the last round in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Not long to go. Right, BTC Alango. Did you find a name for your unicorn? That was my biggest challenge for you.
Yes. Yeah, we call it Rainbow Dash. Like in the TV series, My Little Pony. My
daughter will love you for that decision. However, are you going to surge to the top of the leaderboard in the next few minutes?
Unfortunately, I don't say we will make it today because we had a bit struggle with some tasks, and so I think we are out of the competition for today, unfortunately.
Oh no, well, you can have the consolation prize of the best name for your unicorn.
That's cool.
Bless you. All right, thank you so much to our challengers. Let's see, still a few more minutes until we find out who will be the winner of that amazing prize. But not all F1 fans are lucky enough to always be able to go and get as involved as they would like to be at the track. A lot of you guys and I follow the action from the comfort of your homes, whether it be by TV, mobile or laptop. For F1, the name of the game is that regardless of where you are watching from, the thrill of the race should be fully experienced. For the F1 tech team, that means constantly developing ways to bring that experience to the screen, leveraging AWS technologies to enhance the fan experience, bringing them as close as possible to the driver's cockpit and to the action on track. Nick Morgan, AWS Senior Solution Architect, and James Bradshaw, Head of F1 Digital Technology, are innovation heavyweights who have played a major role in achieving this. Join us as they put the pedal to the metal and bring us up to speed with how F1 TV has changed the race.
Hi everyone, welcome to this session. We're going to talk about Formula One and F1 TV today. I'm joined with James Bradshaw, who's the head of digital technology at Formula One. So hi James.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Marvellous. Okay, so could you tell us a little bit about F1 TV?
Absolutely. F1 TV is F1's global OTT service. It's available in 114 countries as a VOD service and in 85 of those for live. It gives really the ultimate F1 viewing experience. It has the most expansive back catalogue and archive, as well as a wealth of exclusive content.
So James, you mentioned it was a global service. I can imagine that puts an enormous strain on the infrastructure. What kind of challenges do you face?
Well, you're right. As a global service, we have to cater to people with, really good or really bad internet connections. So we use Elemental Media Package, and that allows us to create an ABR, a bitrate ladder of high and lower quality video sources or video outputs. The player then determines which of those the user can support based upon their internet connection. We're also rolling out H.265, which is a video codec with a better compression technology built in. And that is going to see substantial reduction in file sizes. That ultimately means better quality output for fans with those worse connections. And we use multiple CDNs, but primarily AWS CloudFront to deliver all of our data and video for both VOD and live services as well. And that allows us to ensure that we can serve the same content across the globe efficiently, ensuring that only a tiny amount of traffic gets back to the origin.
So James, tell me, do you have issues as well with the myriad of devices available to consumers?
Absolutely. So we support a wide range of devices, from mobile, tablet, and web, as well as connected TV devices like Amazon Fire TV. And we have to strike the right balance, because supporting a broad range of devices is great to get the product into the hands of fans, but it also creates problems because we have to support the different and varying levels of performance of those devices. And so if we want to deliver those really exciting features which have higher performance demands, we have to carefully strike that balance of which devices do we support to give feature parity and then exclusive and exciting features.
So how do you prevent and detect piracy?
Well, piracy is a really important issue, not just to Formula One, but our broadcast partners, and we take it very seriously. That said, it's a fairly unglamorous task that users won't always thank us for, but we work really hard. We use industry standard DRM protection and tokenization. And in fact, tokenization is something that AWS really helped us with. The process is quite compute intensive, and we needed to put that at the edge. So we use CloudFront functions, which makes sure that the circa 18,000 compute transactions that have to happen for every single viewer, for every single session, happen as close to the edge and far away from our platform.
So James, in terms of a global audience, I can imagine you have to support multiple languages.
That's right. So we support 6 languages throughout the UI and in commentary. The main manifest has many child manifests for obviously video, all of our audio, as well as closed captions or subtitles.
Talking of subtitling, I can imagine it's quite a tricky task with all the technical jargon, etc. Do you have people just sitting there rattling away on the keyboards?
We used to, but fundamentally it was unsustainable. So it's such a high intensity job doing manual transcription or closed captioning that it would have been unsustainable to grow it to multiple languages. So instead we worked with AWS and we leveraged AWS Transcribe. It's a machine learning technology that converts speech to text. Now, our use case in motorsport and F1 is really very specific with a lot of nuance and a lot of niche technical terms. So we work with an AWS team and other partners to develop our enhanced transcription. And so we've trained the AWS model for our specific terminology, for our specific use case. And then we also built a moderation tool because no machine is perfect, and we have to make sure of a quality of service of what comes out. But now instead of teams and teams of closed captioners working in shifts to cover an F1 session, we can have a single moderator who's really just looking for those problem statements to override anything.
So in terms of the architecture that we've got and the services that you use at AWS, well, obviously you need to get the pictures from a piece of glass effectively to another piece of glass in someone's living room. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So all of the pictures for our 22 different channels all leave our site outside London. Their last point of contact in that environment is Elemental encoders. They then travel over Media Connect across our 2 direct connect paths directly into AWS. From there, our partners pick up those streams in Media Live. They are processed and sent into Media Package, which does, as I mentioned before, an ABR to make sure that we can broadcast in a variety of qualities. So our partners receive these dual feeds, passed through Media Live to Media Package. Package creates our ABR ladder, and from there it's distributed via AWS CloudFront, tokenized in CloudFront functions, and delivered all the way to a device, including an Amazon Fire TV. And so at that point, we are end-to-end AWS, from the point that it left our facility to the point that a user sees it on their screen.
Thanks, James. Really interesting discussion. Really appreciate it. We've got a lot of content today, so let's go back to the studio.
Wow, thanks, guys. F1 AWS Gameday is a celebration of speed, innovation, and collaboration between 2 brands that are heavily data-driven. Leveraging AWS architecture and technology, the competitors are building solutions aimed at enabling F1 teams to make better decisions and finding ways to enhance the fan experience by bringing the track and cockpit closer to home. So let's dive into the intricacies of what makes AWS F1 Gameday such an exciting event.
Hi everyone, welcome to this session. So today I'm delighted to be with Nick. Hi Nick.
Hello Arno, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Gameday is a gamified training experience for participants. What can we expect from the AWS Gameday F1 Final League?
So the idea behind the F1 Gameday League really was to increase developer engagement. So we've got a developer engagement team within AWS. We were asked to work with AWS and Formula One to devise some quests that had a Formula One flavour and give a real sense to the participants of the game day what you'd have to do when setting up a Formula One team.
So the different AWS EMEA summits can be seen as qualifying heats in a way, and now we are running into the final stage.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the qualifying heats for a moment. The teams or the delegates at the summits were invited to create teams of 4 and compete against each other to complete some tasks that we'd pre-generated. Those tasks included setting up a new website for Unicorn Rentals Racing Team and securing it and providing that content via a CDN. They were also asked to create an immutable database for F1 car parts, and this is where you can't change the data, right? It's like a blockchain ledger. They were also asked to train an AI ML model for the Deep Racer and then score a successful lap time at the Catalunya circuit.
Okay, so what can we expect from the AWS Gameday F1 League final?
Obviously, we couldn't use the content from the heats, so we had to build something from scratch.
Okay.
So we've taken the real data from a real race and we've brought that into AWS and we've exposed that through our services and created quests around that for the teams to build an F1 pit lane dashboard.
That must be such a great and impressive challenge to do so.
It's difficult for sure. There's a lot of data to deal with. They've got to synchronize video and data content and bring it together on screen.
As you know, today we are in a developer session. So if you're okay, I would like to dig more with you into the process of creating a brand new game day. Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing to get right is the narrative or the story about what you're trying to achieve, because then you can discuss that with the teams that produce the game days out in Australia. And you can really kick the tires of what the idea is, how it's going to gel, what things are we going to measure. So part of the game day is when a participant does a particular task, we can measure whether that's successful or not through the game day engine. via that engine, we can also award a score. This is how we differentiate the different participants.
So, what's next, Nix?
Well, we take the narrative then and we try and turn it into something that's tangible. In this case, we decided that we wanted to create an F1 dashboard. So we have a group of developers working on that dashboard, but we also have to develop how the Gameday is deployed through the Gameday engine, and also how do we make the scoring, how do we log things, etc., etc. In the back end with the Gameday SDK, we can define parts of a story and how that plays out. In addition to that, we had to provide services so the actual dashboard would run. In doing this, we needed to prepare data and build some functions and provide those functions to the players to implement the dashboard.
So Nick, it seems that some of the components are pre-built. So where is the challenge for developers?
Well, we had to look at it as a whole, right? And it'd be really difficult for us to expect the developers to build a whole dashboarding system. Bear in mind, it's taken us weeks to do that. So what we've done is try to focus their attention on certain aspects.
Indeed.
So they need to build the API and sort of glue it together. They need to do ETL jobs to transform and load data into the system. They also have to secure the system as well and provide access to only the racing team.
As a last question, Nick, can our customers run their own game day? I mean, like in a private in-house competition?
Yeah, of course, yeah. We've got a wide variety of game days available through our library. Just contact your account manager or your solutions architect and they can make the arrangements for you. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Formula One on AWS, go to aws.amazon.com/F1.
Thank you very much, Nick, for this detailed explanation. It was really interesting for all of us. Thank you very much for watching us, and let's go back to the studio.
Brilliant stuff. Now, the moment of truth is here. We are ready for the countdown. The big moment has arrived. We are just about to announce our winners. Which team will get to travel to the Formula One Etihad Airways Abu Dhabi Grand Prix of 2022 as champions? Let's go live to our representatives who are with the teams all over Europe. Let's say hello to everybody. How are you all feeling? Stressed, I think. A little bit stressed? Double thumbs up?
Stress.
I am the most stressed. Yeah. I had 2 melon and blueberry pots.
2? That's extraordinary. Okay, I will not keep you in suspense for much longer. I just want to say that you've all come such a long way, but only one team can be crowned champions. The winning team for the 2022 AWS F1 Game Day final is... It is Les Devoops. Well done and congratulations to our team from France. Congratulations, celebrations in the background. And they are ecstatic. Look at them go, so happy. And I tell you what, we have Rob Smedley, F1 technical expert, standing by. Rob, I know you have something you'd like to say to our winners, our team from France.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Les Devoops. Absolutely brilliant. You know, I've loved this journey from start to finish because it's just been, it's like a microcosm of Formula One, isn't it? It's what we do in the teams with you know this real meritocratic build up where you've got to get the one stage right, then the next stage, and you know these guys have done the best job. It's brutal, but that's Formula One. The best team gets the most points and they win, and the other teams they don't. So well done, guys. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in Abu Dhabi. So come and say hello.
Cheers. Hello. Thank you. Hi. Bonjour, Rob, and thank you very much. One word from Bliss.
Just as from the start, this is unexpected, but we are glad to win because when we play to win. And I'm very happy to have this guy with me to work with them every day. And well, all we do, we make sure we have fun in our work. And I guess that's what helped us, well, win today, I suppose. That's it. And thank you for this event. It was great.
Thank you very much for your feedback, Bliss, and all the team. I'm sure the French pastry helped a lot.
The French pastry helped so much. Well, thank you so much to our teams. Congratulations. But before we say our goodbyes, we'd like to thank everybody who took part in this fantastic event. To our F1 and AWS experts who shared secrets from their vault, to our amazing teams, and also to you, the fans at home who followed all of our very exciting action. You can see the teams there just relaxing, taking a little load off. Our French team are going to party into the night in Paris, I feel. Make sure you keep watching F1 to enjoy all the full fan experience with AWS. And if you're interested in knowing more about AWS technology, why don't you check out AWS's upcoming yearly educational flagship event, reInvent, starting on November the 28th in Las Vegas, where most of the keynotes will also be available to watch online. Well, we look forward to seeing you in 2023. Once again, congratulations to our winners, DevOps from Paris. Thank you and goodbye.